Welcome to Perpetual Motion. I'm Dr. Mo Anderson. Today's guest is career strategist and speaker Julia Rock. She's here to unpack workplace disengagement, pass along syndrome, and the quiet revolution sparked by the 92% of Black women who voted for Kamala Harris and are now setting firmer boundaries at work. Get ready for a masterclass on purpose, power, and why thank you is not just good manners, it's good management. Welcome, Julia.
Oh man, thank you so much, Dr. Mo, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm the lucky one. I'm a TEDx speaker, one of the LinkedIn top voices. You are everywhere doing everything. And we recently had the opportunity to be on a three-person panel together in Austin, the Black X conference, and you impressed me so much that I just was like, oh, this conversation cannot end. I have got to have her on my shows.
Thank you. I mean, from the moment we met, I just said, I want to be around her. Whatever she's doing, I want to be around her.
Right, right.
So thank you for just sharing this opportunity with me.
Kindred spirits. Well, let's get after it. I want to start with workplace disengagement, what it looks like in real time, workplace disengagement, and how is it different from burnout or simply needing a break?
Yeah, so when you think about disengagement, it's
Mhm.
really about people detaching and pulling back.
Okay.
So if you're exhausted at work, you may just need, just take a beat, take a day, take a long walk, take a vacation, and you come back and you're energized and you're ready to get back into it. But with disengagement, you have now reached the point where you're like, I don't even want to be a part of this. I'm just here. Well, what's the Marshawn
I'm
Lynch
laughing
song?
because that's been familiar in my past, but I understand.
What's the Marshawn Lynch line? I'm just here so I don't get fined. Like, it's
Yes.
really that idea of I'm showing up because I need a paycheck and
Mm,
I'm not ready to leave just yet. I don't maybe have a plan B yet. But I don't want to be engaged. I don't want to be involved. I'm not going to bring my new ideas forward. I'm here to get my check. Leave me alone.
mm.
And that typically is attached to burnout because people have given all they could. They've been giving their best and showing up, and perhaps the workload has been too much or they haven't been recognized. Maybe there's a values mismatch, whatever is driving their burnout. But at a certain point, they're like, this is where I check out. This is where I get
Okay.
off the train.
Okay, got it, got it. As you were saying that, I thought about when you said come back re-energized from vacation, like if a good night's sleep, several good nights sleeps is not getting you, because that's kind of what a good vacay is. I come back like, oh, I'm rested, I'm enthused, but if nothing seems to make work seem like a better place, then
Hmm.
it's time to reassess. Got it.
That's right.
Got it.
That's right.
You've spoken about, and I love this, how powerful a simple thank you, gracias, merci can be in the workplace. Why is appreciation so often, and it's getting worse, overlooked by managers and executives?
Think it's a lot of different reasons. For especially if you're a middle manager, you get kind of lost in what you're already doing and trying to just keep
Mhm,
things moving forward. And it
mhm.
doesn't hit you that the people who are doing the work need to be appreciated for what they're doing. You're just like, we've got to get to the next thing, hit the KPIs, drive whatever it is, because they're typically
Right,
getting squeezed from their people and their bosses. As you
right,
go up the food chain, those folks are not really are concerned as much with the people and how they feel as compared to what do the shareholders need? What does our
right.
bottom line
Results.
look like? What does our strategy look like?
Uh-huh.
And so I always get frustrated when people say, "Oh, people are our greatest asset. We love our people," but they don't appreciate them. They're just thinking about how can they help us reach this next target.
Right,
And so sometimes it may just be unintentional, but a lot of times they're just seeing the individuals as, hey, you're here to do a job. You're here to help make money for the shareholder. You're here to help us get things done and be profitable. And your thank you is the paycheck. You're getting
right.
paid to do this. So you should be happy with the fact that you have a job with us because we're the best thing since sliced bread. So take your paycheck and live with it. And so that's part of the challenge too.
Right. Well, we see now, And this is kind of evergreen, so try not to refer to dates. But at this particular time with the climate in the U.S., we're seeing a lot of people get laid off, a lot of companies closing,
That's
people
right.
losing their jobs, prices are going up. So, it's easy to fall back on. You should be happy you're getting a paycheck.
That's
I,
right.
I, I heard a manager say recently 700 people applied for our last open position. So when there's that much competition and some leverage there for people in management, what is their incentive to show employees appreciation, to care how they're feeling mentally and emotionally?
Here's the thing about going out to the market and getting someone, right? So you think,
Mhm.
oh, well, if you leave, I can go and get somebody. You have no idea what you're going to get from the market. Everyone looks good on paper. When
Right.
you have people in the door who are already skilled on what you do, who are high performers, who are top talent, you want to retain those folks. And
Mhm.
so the idea of thanking them is showing them that they are appreciated and that they're valued, and you want them to stay with you so that their
Okay.
work is being seen and you're able to keep them and continue to develop them, because those high performers and top talent, you want those to be the leaders of tomorrow. You want
Mhm.
them to drive the strategy into the future. And so the incentive is, hey, if you treat your people well, they will stay, and then they will help to create an environment that will thrive for the folks coming behind them, especially as they step into leadership.
Okay, well, I'm going to challenge you on that a little bit. Everybody can't be top talent.
I
And
agree.
quite frequently, they are the ones who are getting thanks and special assignments, individual contributions, and getting a lot of attention. But we need all those other folks. We can't have a top. If everybody's the top, they're going to eat each other up. We
I
need the whole
agree.
team.
I
Okay.
I I agree. So let me frame it this way. They're the top performers, you have the rock stars, but then you have people that are still performing, they're doing the
Mhm.
job that they have, right? And so they're making their widgets. They're not the person that you're giving the special projects to, but they're still doing their job to
Right.
the expectation. They're holding down the fort. And
Hmm.
those are still people that you want to keep. So even if they're not a rock star, you want those solid performers to stay because they continue to keep the base going while the high flyers go off and they do all the fun, sexy things. And
Right.
so I agree that it's both, that you want to make sure that the people that are performing well, they're not your rock stars. You still want to keep those folks because they're keeping the engine running for sure.
Right, right. In the well, of course, being in there. I'm not just saying, these folks just showing up and could care less,
Right,
late,
right. You're still
coming
performing
late,
well.
leaving early. Oh, thank you for coming by today at 10 a.m. You okay?
Showing up at 10, leaving at 10:15.
Right. Leaving for lunch. Oh, it's time for me to get something. No, no. We're not showing them appreciation. We're showing them the door.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, you gotta do your job, folks. I just wanted to clarify. I don't want you feeling bad if you're not the superstar. Everybody's not the superstar, and I have learned in life to value everybody's role. It takes
Same.
it takes everybody. You let your superstar admin person at the front not be there one day, or answering the phone, or bringing the mail, or so many important things, and you'll find out how well your operation runs without that key person there. So
That's right. But if I may, I want to go back for the top performers. I want to fight for them a little bit
oh
because what
yeah, I'm
happens
all for
sometimes
'em.
is that people assume that they are getting thanks, and what they're getting
Good
thanked with
point.
is more work, likely. Like, oh, do
Yeah,
this, do that, and they're not getting paid any more money. They're not getting
understood.
any more reprieve. And so the price of being a high performer is also a price to pay. So I want to fight for them a little bit
No, I
because
like
they may
that.
be on the struggle bus too, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. Or people assume everybody else is doing it and no one's doing it. It's like
That's
being
right.
a really pretty girl. I've heard. So that's what they tell me. I didn't have that problem. I look all right, but I wasn't just getting random compliments. So anyway, I'm getting off the subject. I'm sorry.
We
Okay.
back, we back.
So we're clear on workplace disengagement and just the power of gratitude, which is a really big thing. And you can use that at home too, folks. Don't just assume that your spouse knows you appreciate them. I don't care how many times they're taking out the trash or wash the dishes. It's just good every once in a while to tell people thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. You've coined a term, I believe you coined pass along syndrome.
That's right.
Yeah, that's an interesting phrase. What is it, and how does it quietly derail careers, especially for high performers and women of color?
Yeah, so pass along syndrome is really the idea that, especially for leaders,
Mhm.
where they're getting a request or a task or something from folks above them, and
Okay.
instead of them vetting what the request is and understanding what all is needed, they
Mhm.
simply just pass the work along
Mm,
to the people who are working for them,
understood.
and whose plates are likely already full.
Mhm.
And so what this does, one, it for that leader, it shows a lack of courage and a lack of advocacy for their team. Because if you can't go back to the person asking you for something, hey, why do you need this? What question are we trying to answer? Or
Mhm.
hey, we're happy to get this to you, but it's going to take us 3 weeks to do in addition to what
Right.
we already have to do. That shows that you don't have the backbone to represent your people. And where this can impact, especially folks of color, is that if you are on that team, especially for us who are trying to be high performers, and we know we have to do twice as much, right? And, we're taking on all that extra work, and even though we may be overburdened and burnt out, we will still be taking it, and we're afraid to ask the question too. We're afraid to push back. If our boss didn't push back, we're afraid to ask, well, hey, my plate's already full. Can I get this to you next week? And so we get buried in the weeds of
Mhm.
doing this work and we're missing out on the visibility, right? We're just taking and we're getting overburdened and then we're on the track to burnout. And so you can see that there are just multiple touch points here where had that person asked that one or two questions to the person they were getting the request from, it might be a more senior executive, C-suite, board, whoever.
Mhm.
Had they asked that question, they could ensure that the work that was coming to their team is work that's value added, not busy work, not checking the box, not work that
Mhm.
would obscure this person's visibility. And like I said, especially for people of color,
Mhm.
we're taking the work because we want to do a good job and we don't want to be seen as the angry black person or the angry black man or, or somebody from a minority community. And so
Right.
we take the work and then our visibility might get obscured because many times it may not even be high profile stuff we're
Mhm.
doing.
Right, right. Or we're said to not be collaborative team players or
We're not being a
whatever.
team player. We're being, it's like we're being combative. Everyone else is willing to roll up their sleeves, Dr. Mo.
Mhm.
Why aren't you? And so then we get that terrible label.
For the people who are doing this, is it also that they are not even aware? I've found upper level management often isn't aware of how many things they have passed along and how many projects you're working on. Is it incumbent upon the person who's being passed along to? How do you speak up for yourself? To if they're not listening to this podcast and they're not even aware, I don't think it's always malicious. Some of them are lazy, been there,
Right.
done that, but some I don't think they're even aware, but they're getting so much stuff coming at them, and they've got these, high performers or these people who never say anything. So how do I say, "Oh my god, this is the 10th thing they've given me this week on top of the projects I already have." How do I say that and have them hear me and not be that angry, burnout, uncooperative person?
So the angle that I teach folks to use is to ask the right questions instead of just
Mhm.
immediately pushing back. Because for example, if you're getting a task that's being assigned to you, you can ask the question, "Well, help me understand what is the audience or who is the audience for this request,
Mhm.
and what question are we trying to answer for them?" Because what that opens the door for is a dialogue to say, "Okay, maybe we have this information elsewhere. It's already in another form, and technically you could still give them what they need. It may not just be the specific request they asked for." And so by asking the right questions as to what is the audience, and then also saying, "Hey, we have these priorities that you shared with me last week. Would you want me to rearrange those priorities to put this one at the top?" And so you're putting the ball back in the person's court. So it's not, "Hey, I don't want to do it. Hey, I don't want to be involved." It's that, "Hey,
Right.
I'm excited to support the team and be active, but we do have those other priorities that we discussed at length last week. This is a break-in request, so would you like me to deprioritize other things to do this?" And it's up to the person to say yes or no, and that's where the
Right.
dialogue comes. So it's more of a collaborative discussion rather than I ain't finna do this, I'm tired, right?
Right.
There's a different energy with those responses.
Wow, that's excellent. I really like that, asking about the priorities, which is that gentle reminder of all these other things you've given me already. And they may just say, oh, yeah, I'll send it over to Michaela or whatever. Or, like you said, sure, let's put this on the back burner, move that around. But then they're not. And what I've seen is people just take all this stuff on, and now they've got mediocrity and exhaustion and all of that. And then the manager, VP, whomever is surprised because you've got an inferior product, your outcome is not good, but it's because you're stretched. You're trying to do too many things.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
yeah, yeah. All right. I love this. Now, tell me about your coaching and your clients, because I've got a question leading up to clients, but give us a little more background on your what you do, your education. You're just fascinating to me, but I'm going to let you share the parts of your life that you'd like to share that brought you to where we are today.
Man, so thank you so much for that. So I actually don't have an HR background. So when people hear that you do leadership and training and coaching, they think you've gone to some sort of HR program or grew
Mhm.
up in HR. I'm a finance professional by trade. So before I left corporate, I was a senior finance professional. My last job, I was responsible for about $23 billion in operating expenses.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was a hefty job. But alongside that career, I was building my business and coaching clients and doing
Mhm.
resumes and other things for a long time. But really, what I do is help organizations and leaders become more successful by retaining the employees they want to have. And that the way we do that is really by focusing on leadership effectiveness. So research shows that 70% of the variation in employee engagement is driven by manager behavior. So if we focus on making managers and leaders better, you are more
Mhm.
likely to have more engaged employees and those employees stay. And so where coaching comes into that is typically whether I'm speaking or training, you'll have some folks who need the additional support or the
Mhm.
additional like one-on-one relationship. And so I'm typically coaching whether it's middle managers up to executives and really helping them to unpack how do I become a stronger leader? How do I become more effective with my team, especially as you step up in responsibility. It's one thing to lead a team of 2, it's another
Right.
thing to lead a team of 2,000, right? And
Right.
so what do I need to do differently and how do I show up differently? How do I have the right level of confidence in those sessions? And then I also get sought out by leaders and executives for that same reason.
Of
How
course.
do I show up more effectively as a leader?
Right. And that's a very conscious and conscientious person that wants to continually grow. It still surprises me the people who don't seek out coaching. And I do another type of coaching, and it's like the people who need it most are the people who think they don't need it.
I, I'm I'm
It's the
telling you.
funniest thing.
Because when you listen to them, you hear the person talking about the boss they have or the colleague they have, and I'm just like, I feel like you're not the only person who needs an executive coach. I feel like there's more of a need here, and not trying to steal more business or something, but
Right. Right.
clearly you're not the only person in this organization who needs some executive coaching or leadership support because everyone else sounds a little bit like they could use some additional skills
Yes,
in this area.
indeed. Right. Right. So, speaking of your clients, how
Yeah.
do you help them, especially those in mid to senior level roles, redefine success when their priorities start to shift? And it may just be that they're older, it may be something catastrophic happened, it may whatever. There are things that cause us to view the world differently, and it's not all about the corner office anymore. It changes. How do you help them with that?
So the biggest thing, and I saw this also with the professional athletes that I've worked with, is
Mhm.
decoupling or detaching your identity from what you do.
Yeah.
So for a lot of these leaders, especially since you've been in the game a long time, you've gotten a lot of
Mhm.
title, accolades, promotions, all the thing to reach that VP or whatever the sexy title is, you now almost define yourself by
Right.
that. And so as your priorities begin to shift, you have this wrestling where it's like, hey, I want to be more present at home. I want to do these things, but then does that
Mhm.
mean I have to give up the workplace success? Does that mean I have to give up who I've become? And
Mhm.
it's really about detaching that and saying, you are still the same person. You still have the same value regardless of whatever your title is or what you've done or your accolades. So it's really about defining who they are independent of that. And then it's also just giving them the permission. I feel like sometimes they feel like they almost need the permission to do something different and be something different because they've had this one vision of success for so long. Climb the
Right.
ladder, hit VP, get the stock bonus or whatever. And so once you get there and your priorities start to shift, you feel almost guilty about wanting to do something else because this is what you've wanted for so long. And so sometimes it's really about getting the permission to understand that it's okay for your vision of success to be different from what it used to be. It's okay for it to be different from the
Yeah.
people that are in your circle. It's
Mhm.
okay that it's something new now and that you want a different future. So I would say those are the biggest things, really, carving out your identity from what you do and what you've achieved, and also just giving yourself permission to say, hey, I'm a different person now. So it's okay that my view of success isn't the same as it used to be.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, is that what happened to you? Because you made a pretty big shift from finance to coaching others. How do you define success now as opposed to in the past?
Man, so for a long time I wanted to be a CFO. That's what I wanted to be, and I was climbing the ladder, and then as time went on, I shifted from thinking about the career to what I wanted my life to look like
Right.
and what I wanted my purpose to be. And that's
Mhm,
another
mhm.
conversation that I have with my coaching clients is around purpose and that sense of purpose.
Right.
And over time, I realized that I wasn't getting that same purpose feeling from doing finance. It was really about helping others achieve their career and leadership goals. And once I started to see that, it's like, well, so I don't think that the path of climbing for CFO is really what I want anymore. It's
Uh-huh.
really about what kind of career can I build where I would serve people in this capacity. But then also from a life perspective, I gave my life to finance. I skipped holidays, I skipped birthdays with my family, trips, I lost sleep. There's so much that I went
Mhm.
through in corporate. And I'm like, that can't be success. It just can't be. And
Right.
so now for me, it's about how much time am I able to spend
Mhm.
with my parents in Barbados and my 99-year-old grandmother and my
Oh,
siblings,
Nana. That's
and so
yeah.
that reframing is what made me more comfortable shifting out of corporate and saying, "Hey, this is the direction I wanna go in." So, no, I'm never gonna have that, $50 million stock bonus as a CFO, but for me, being able to go and see my family and love on them and serve people in a meaningful way, because when you are good at work, you're able to take that good energy at home. You spend the
Absolutely.
majority of your life at work. And
Mhm.
so if you are in a negative headspace or if you're not being treated well, you take that home to your
Right.
family, your kids, your
Right.
friends. And so I'm able to actually help transform lives if I'm able to help people in their careers as well.
Oh, wow. That's beautifully said. I'm glad I asked that question. I have redefined success numerous times, and I believe we have the inevitable right to change. We should change things that don't grow or dead. They're
That's
inanimate
right.
objects like these things behind me. And I learned that I thought success when I was younger, because it's our culture. I thought it was a person, place, or thing, and now I realize it's your purpose,
That's
pursuing
right.
your purpose with passion, as you just so eloquently said. And it is such a shift in the things that you value and you wanted and coveted. You're like, this is not bringing me joy. And you'll know because it's so fleeting. As soon as you put the award down, you're on and thinking about the next thing. But that hug from your 99-year-old grandma, you're feeling that weeks later. You're
That
feeling that goodness. That goodness last. I
that's
love that.
right. And if I could add one more thing as you
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about values, when for a lot of leaders, they had a certain set of values when they joined the
Mhm.
company or when they started their career. And those values change over time, like you said, as you grow. And so as you're going through this process of redefining success, it's like, well, what is your career vision and what are your career values today? It may used to be money, right? Or it's like, I
Mhm.
just want as much money as possible. Now it may be, I want more time. I want more flexibility. I want to work with a different type of client. And that may mean that you
Mhm.
shift from the kind of big title that you used to have, or you do a different type of work. And that's okay, because your values and your purpose should be what drives you, rather than some sort of mythical vision of success that someone said somewhere on a podcast, right?
Right, exactly. Who you know nothing about them or their background. They're just telling you how amazing they are. You and how many millions they've made and this and that. No documentation, no proof whatsoever. Just
No proof.
anybody can get on and be coaching and and giving financial advice. I saw this girl she was clearly in her parents' basement and she's giving financial advice and had a book. And I'm like, nothing wrong with multi generations in the house, but I'm sorry, you need your own place before I'm taking I'm taking
Right, because
advice.
it's like, well, what have you lived? You haven't had
Yeah,
any lived experience yet. It's like, go live, and then you can talk to people from a place of experience. And that's why I love
yes,
what I do, is because I've led teams
yes,
and I've gone through the tough trenches with teams. And so when I talk to leaders now, it's like, hey, I have been in the seat
yes,
of struggling with team development, having to fire people, having to deal with performance, having to deal with identity issues. All
right.
of those are things that I've gone through, so I can serve them in a more meaningful way when I talk through the problems with them.
Yeah, yeah, authentically and credential incredibly, and that's why you're here because you are the Julia Rock. We're talking about shifts in perspectives, values, and there's been a cultural shift since 2020. After 92% of Black women, and you know this, it was all over the news, 92% of us showed up at the polls for Kamala Harris to vote for her. And we know how that turned out. And in disillusionment, not just disappointment, but disillusionment, many have dialed back from being the workplace superhero, the go to, the auntie, however you want to put it. It's, I'm doing my job and my job with excellence, but I'm not doing everybody else's stuff anymore.
Amen.
What do you make of this movement toward boundary setting? Because I thought it was kind of going to be a temporary thing, but
Mm-mm.
this is a total thing now. And the selective engagement, like the I don't care woman, I love her. We don't care anymore. So I'll stop with this long ass question and let you answer.
No, I mean, because I I think about how much I did and I saw my mentors
Mhm.
do in the workplace, and you're trying to help and serve everybody and represent and advocate for everybody. And then when it mattered at we're saying our lives are on the line, and
Yes.
we're looking around to see who's holding hands with us, and there's nobody holding hands with us. And it's like, well, wait a minute. So we have been serving everybody and you guys can't stand up for us this one time? So you're on your own.
Right.
And I think we're doing it with grace, right? We are not
Mm.
just leaving people in the lurch and just
Right.
being, but what we're saying, hey, these are our boundaries. Because for a long time, we didn't have any boundaries.
No,
We
none.
would there was so much self-sacrifice, right? We'll stay longer, we'll help this person, we'll do all these things and put ourselves, our families on the back burners to serve
Right.
others. And
Mhm.
so now what we are saying is that no, we will do what we're supposed to, we will, but we're not going to go above and beyond and put ourselves on the back burner, because what we've learned is they're not willing to do the same for you.
Mhm.
The reward that we have gotten is burnout and disappointment,
Right.
and while other people have thrived on our backs. And so
Right.
what we've decided is we're going to set our boundaries, because here's the thing: if you don't set boundaries, if you don't show people you have boundaries, they will assume you don't have any.
Hello.
And
That part.
so for a lot of folks, they thought that Black women didn't have any boundaries. We will just, continue to do, give,
Mhm.
limitlessly. But I tell people, I'm like, I'm trying to be like Jesus, but I ain't him. I ain't there yet. Right. And so I have a boundary as to how much I will give, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You
Right.
can't serve others when you have nothing left for yourself. And one of the things we also learned, and my sister talked to me about this even before the election, where I was like, I'm not sure if I want to quit my job, because what about all the people I'm going to leave behind? And,
Mhm.
who can I help? And my sister said, you can't serve anybody if you feel like crap. She's like, you can't serve. She's like, you can't serve anybody if you feel like crap. She's like, the
Woo.
people that you want to help, they need the best version of you. And that
Mm,
may be a version that no longer exists in the same organization. Give
come
them
on.
your phone number, give them your email, give them your LinkedIn, and you can
Mhm.
support them from a more full place when you're no longer dealing with that stress. And so my sister gave it to me straight. So we both grew up in Brooklyn, so she didn't mince any words there.
I like that. That was great advice, and that was love. You knew there was no ulterior kind of motive there, and she supported your dream. She wasn't, you know, when I've made changes of people are, they're like, well, what are you gonna do? What if you don't have insurance? What if you don't have, you need those people that are like, I believe in you. I know
Right.
you thought this out. I know you. You're not just doing something. You've thought this out, and you got it lined up. I believe in you. So you just need a little push sometimes. You just need a
That's right.
little push. So good sister. I love that. I love that. Final question. I hate we're running out of time here. I'm
All right.
enjoying this and learning so much. This is my master class. I love that other people listen, but this is my master class right here. For those listeners who feel stuck, unappreciated, or just plain tired, whatever their level they're at, is there one thing that they might start with, one action they can take today to realign their purpose and power?
The one thing I would say is take a moment, and however much moment that can be for you, to
Mhm.
reflect on what it is that you want right now. And the part of the reason that we're feeling that misalignment is that we've lost sight of what we want. We just started to go through the motions. We're serving everybody else. We're getting the
Mhm.
paycheck,
Mhm.
whatever it might be. So take the moment you need to redetermine, what is it that I want, and how do I want to show up in the world? And that will begin to guide you as to, can I still stay in this job and show up in the way that I want and get what I want?
Mhm.
Can I stay, with this company and get what I want and show up the way I want? So it's really about, what do I want right now?
Right.
And what does success look like to me today?
Mhm.
And letting go of that vision that you may have had when you were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as my dad would say, when you first joined.
Right.
Letting go of that vision of success and saying, what do I want today? What does success look like to me today? And how do I want to show up in the world today?
Beautiful. Beautiful. There you go, folks. Worth the price of admission. That's what I always say. You have been an extraordinary guest. Lots of gems here, many strategies and takeaways for whatever level you're at in your corporation. And these principles also apply to home, folks.
That's
I
right.
always say something about your personal life and Maslow's pyramid. If you are not being fulfilled at home as well, you take that to work and you're not the employee or the team member or the leader that you could be. So, the gratitude, all of this, and being in alignment with your purpose and being consistent. Julia Rock, tell folks how they can find you online to learn more about your services and your programs and your great advice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Mo, for having me. This has been great. So if folks want to connect with me, I'm on all social media platforms at the Julia Rock. So Julia Rock, one word. So you can connect with me there. If you're interested in services, you can go to my website, rockcareer.com, and head to the services or the contact page and just put in your info, and we'll get back with you.
All right, sweet, sweet. Julia Rock, JuliaRock.
Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate you, friend. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And thank you, listeners. Please like, subscribe, and share. And remember this, change your words and change your world. Thank you.